Okay, good evening, United fans. We are back after mourning for a couple of days after that tough loss in the Europa League final. Kaya kami nakapag-stream ngayon kasi medyo okay yung naging result sa Champions League final. No? So medyo nakapag-recover na yung iba sa amin. So again, welcome. If you're watching the replay, do watch out for the comments on the right. Thank you once again for joining us. We are Pinoy Chat for the Enders. I'm Jeff. I'm your host for tonight. And for tonight, when I get the reactions of the panel, I'll just bring them on one by one and trying something new. And I think they deserve, a little bit more airtime because, hindi biro yung puyat na yun, no? And then, mauwi sa ganon. So, yeah. It's a Sunday evening. It's a different schedule. Thank you for joining us. And I will bring on first Julio. Hey, Julio. What's up, sir?
What's up, Chief? Good evening, good
Alright.
evening. Kasi na medyo
So,
nakasando tayo at mainit.
Okay lang.
Pero yeah, we're
Buti
okay, we're
walan
okay.
din, oh. Buti walan.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. So, past couple of days, been hard. You said earlier, nanood ka ng Champions League final. And, at least medyo consuelo na ganun yung naging result. Hindi ko na sabihin kung ano, di ba? But, these past few days, what were your... I think what was your initial reaction? Siyempre, ganit ka, parang, what were your initial thoughts on why we lost? And then, after a couple of days of simmering, what did go wrong during that game?
Unang-una, disappointing siya. It's a very disappointing final. I mean, we've had some very interesting final matches naman wherein United played well naman din and then they lost. And then some of the games naman that they didn't do well and yet won. These were one of the games na parang medyo masama yung combo, na masama na yung laro, masama pa yung ending. It's one of those games talaga na it really didn't go well for them from the start. Na maganda naman yung formations to begin with. The intention was there kasi to go all out. Understandably naman, given na most of the players naman were given rest, they were given time to prepare, including the subs. But given the circumstances kasi surrounding, let's say if we're going to look at the form ng team overall, regardless of how heavily rotated they were, you could tell kasi na parang medyo alanganin na talaga yung situation kasi ng team no na if they were really that poised enough kasi to win the cup itself. I mean, on paper naman, kaya naman talaga ang Villarreal. I believe na pag-usapan naman yan before. We could all tell naman din eh. And some of the discussions were also made regarding on how Villarreal plays their game, di ba? Lahat naman yun na pinpoint. And I would like to believe din na lahat naman sakto naman dun sa mga na-share naman natin all throughout these past few podcasts. Kaya lang, it just so happened kasi na at the start of the game pa lang kasi hindi talaga nag-click to begin with eh. Close shot na talaga siya kaagad eh, from the start eh. So it really ruined the game plan, whichever game plan that was. Everyone was saying and I would like to channel din of course yung grievances din ng mga kapwa natin fans from all sides na parang there was no plan B, walang plan C, the subs were brought in very late, as in very, very late in the game, parang with penalties in mind now, which was partly successful, so to speak, pero hindi talaga lahat nag-fall for United on its lap eh. I mean, the effort was there. We could tell naman din na the efforts were there naman din, especially in the second half ng regular time. Kaya lang, the shots were too weak, the attempts were too weak, kulang talaga sa final third. We can all put that into detail, which I'm sure masasabi naman din ng mga kapwa natin panelists. Pero I would like to summarize na talaga na overall, it was a very disappointing cup final talaga. As in, from a personal perspective talaga, it really hurt eh. Kasi I would like to admit that the expectations were there talaga. Compared to the previous cup finals that we had. We did our best to lower the expectations given how the teams were being managed eh. Kumbaga, I mean, partida even if nung time na si Jose Mourinho pa yung coach eh. Ngayon kasi with the sabihin na natin yung progress is there. Hindi na madi-deny yan. Definitely. Kitang-kita naman siya whether it's on paper or if it's being applied. Kaya lang I guess if we want to put it in a different perspective together, where do we go from here? I guess the only way to go right now is up pa rin naman din. I think it's there. It's all about other factors na I would say, and I'm sure may detalye naman din ito further, na whether mabibigyan ng tamang suporta si Oli in terms of getting the right signings. It doesn't have to be big names, but the right signings enough for United to finally challenge for the title. Kasi yun talaga yung pinaka-priority. I mean, the Champions League, the Europa Leagues naman kasi will always be there naman din. But for you to get there, you have to qualify first on whichever position that you need to be in the league, which is of course to win it, diba? Or at least in those places na enough to get you to Europe. So with that in mind naman din, I'm sure it's something naman na pinag-uusapan na ngayon ng staff with the changes in mind naman din na nangyari na din in-house. Like, we're finally having a technical director in Darren Fletcher. May football director na din, John Murtaugh. But it's a question na lang on how can they deliver sa upcoming transfer window next month, no? And then you also have the factors coming in like yung upcoming Euros na sana wala ma-injured, touch wood. Na wala ma-injured sa mga players, especially the marquee players like Bruno Fernandes, Rashford. And of course, with the pre-existing injuries that they already had at the start of the season, like yung balikat ni Rashford, hindi na naasikaso. And then nagdagdagan pa ng ankle niya tsaka yung leg injuries niya. So you have those other factors pa to consider. And of course, you also have to take note then of the kind of scenarios that the club will face moving forward. Siyempre, nandun pa rin, naglilinger pa rin yung epekto ng European Super League announcement na nangyari last month. Which I believe, I firmly believe na ramdam pa rin, I think, ng players and staff and all that. Kita sa form kasi it all went downhill kasi after nung umalis na rin kasi ang United eventually in the space of 48 hours.
But still, diba?
Yeah, correct. There's a lot of things to look at. Pero I would like to say na nandun pa rin naman yun din yung optimism. As long as Oli is given the proper backing, he really needs. It's not just required, it's what he really needs. Kumbaga, if it will be given, then definitely the club and the team can challenge. And by then, makikita naman natin siguro naman na kahit paano may tiwala na si Oli na mag-sub early, sub a little late, pero paano capable naman yung mga players naman dito to perform what's required, finally getting that B plan C and moving forward.
Right.
But until then, we just have to wait and see what happens in the transfer window, in which kind of disappointing pa rin in a way kasi parang wala pa rin narinig na actual movements rumors pa rin even the club website and yung app nakikisali dun sa mga gossip nila Kumbaga,
yeah, I think they're just getting engagement, but you know.
Oh yeah, you have the likes of course yung tumalo sa atin na defense si Pau Torres and all that. So
yeah, we can get to that later, no? As a panel with those rumors, but thank you, Julio, for your your thoughts in general of that game. I'll bring you on later again, huh? All right, stand by. So thanks, Julio, again. So next up we have Kent Garcia. Hey, Kent, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah.
So it's a group chat. We were chatting during the game, and there were a lot of frustrating aspects. Talaga, no? Whether it's the man management or the rotation, the keeper situation, the subs. But for you, what was the most, crucial and infuriating for you aspect that that kind of cost us the game?
Two things. First of all, tactical naivety. We can't deny na this is Oli's first major final as a manager. And may mga iba talaga na may mga ibang questionable decisions na ginawa si Oli on this game na hindi ko inasahan. Well, hindi rin inasahan ng mga kapwa natin United fans. First of all is yung subs. Ang hirap pa na Ang hirap. Siguro it says a lot that maybe Ole doesn't trust the quality of the bench. I'm not in the position really to say that kasi only the manager
like on
knows.
Paper they're okay, pero what do we know compared to him? Pero yeah, sige, go ahead.
Pero sa tingin ko, some players should have played. Some players should have been injected in the game to change up to change up everything, like well, Donny Van de Beek. Although Donny is like merong suspect aspects of the game si Donny, but our offensive flow was very stale that game. So it's more stale than a leftover loaf of bread. Now we needed
Wow.
some life. And we needed some life. So and I think Donny could have done better to inject some life in our offense to keep uh para mas umikot yung bola, para mas magkaroon tayo ng movement inside the box. Sa tingin ko he could have done more. Pero well, it didn't happen. So I'm just disappointed, pero well, again, di natin kontrolado yung isip ni Oli pagdating diyan. Pangalawa siguro yung determination ng mga players. Siguro sabihin natin na maybe Oli's tactics were not spot on. Maybe. Pero it shows sometimes in a cup final, you throw all of the statistics out of the window. You know what I mean, Sir Jeff, di ba? Parang pag
Yeah, yeah,
finals, wala nang
definitely.
underdog yan eh.
Mm.
Kumbaga, it's just the question of who wants it more. Gusto ba yan? Gusto mo talagang manalo? Di i-boost mo yung puso mo sa field. And kudos to Villarreal though. We played into their game plan, pero I think now we have the superior team on paper. We have we have better players. We have more skilled players. I think we could have done more. I'll mention Scott. For the game in that game, parang siya yung
Mm.
nakitaan ko na may puso. Kung sa tingin ko lang, kung sana tinaglay lang ng halos lahat yan, hindi na frustrate. Kasi alam natin it's a final eh. So baga, paunahan mapikon, paunahan pag napikon ka, talo ka. Pero sometimes it's all about doing your best to be on focused and to focus on the win and winning the Europa League. And I think doon tayo nagkulang. So dalawang things, tactical naivety and the mental aspect of the players. I just hope that sa era ni Ole, ito yung parang magkaroon ng malaking lesson not only for Ole but for the players as well. If we want to move forward, we have to exercise the ghost of it next season as soon as possible.
Kumbaga parang turning point to. Parang do we turn the corner because of this? Let's see. Sabi nga ni Paul Scholes,
Depends on them.
si Paul ba o si Rio nagsabi, parang, does the loss hurt enough for them? Oh? Parang
Yep.
ganun eh. Sana nga mayari. Thank you, Kent. Thank you for your thoughts on the matter. May duwan sa likod. May duwan na naman. Sorry about that. So thank you. I'll bring you on later again. So next up, to share his thoughts on the game, I have a question also. We have Bon. Hey, Bon, good evening.
Hi, Jeff. Good evening, everyone. Good
So,
evening.
so for you,
Mhm.
you were also awake during that game. You had a lot of frustrations. Uh, but if you were to change something or a couple of things that you
Mhm.
think could have given us a chance or could have won it within
Mhm.
the 90 minutes,
Mhm.
what would you have done given the bench that we had, given that the
Mhm.
four of the players had, given that Unai Emery was parking the bus again because smash and grab
Yeah.
eh. I mean, they just score and then just park and then bahala na, mag-penalties na, diba? But if you were to change something or one thing during that game, what would you have done?
Jeff, actually, before the game, we were discussing in our GC. The very thing you pina question was who will be the front four, no? Will it be
Hmm.
Pogba or will it be Mason or Marcus on the right, no?
Right.
So actually, it was a good start because Ole dropped yung McFred partnership na preferred niya. So it was a statement of intent. On my part, I thought it was a good start na
I
he
agree.
wanted
The lineup was good, right?
to grab the game by the scruff of the neck right away, no? Si Scotty lang yung holding midfielder and let the front five wreak havoc, no? Unfortunately, at the end of the day, the big names didn't show up. Paul Pogba, Bruno, of course Marcus. I love Marcus. This is his jersey, pero it was really disappointing, no? And aside from probably Scotty and Luke, who both played well, And like Kent said, no, yung puso, di ba? Yung over the course of the 120 minutes, yung tactical naivete ni Oli showed, no? And actually, he should have expected na Unai Emery would perform a smash and grab. Actually, by the time that they scored in the 30th minute or 38, I forgot. Dapat yun na yung sign na sanay na yan sa English Premier League and he knows yung weakness na itong Ole United team would be against teams playing on the low block, no? And then you left until the 100th minute, meron kang Donny van de Beek, meron kang Mata, which is one of my favorite players, no? Two players, and even Matic, no? If you put them on, put Paul sa left, probably substituted Marcus earlier, probably 60th minute, or after he missed that really really bad I can't even describe it kasi masakit pa rin no. Di ba? We had a long time to do it, pero si Ole kasi he really trusts his players no. We've watched it for the whole season, 2 seasons and a half, no. Hindi siya yung yung will make changes right away if something doesn't go wrong. He really trusts his players to come out for him at the end. Pero probably I think it's also a good thing na he waited until the 100th minute. It's probably a sign to the board, no, na we don't have a bench, no. So Woodward, Glazers, put out the checkbook, and let's sign at least three players during this off season. Yun na yun di ba? Parang yun.
Kasi makitang segue yan sa next panelist, but I'd like to touch on that part where you said only trust his players. Na parang I've said this in a different podcast. Na parang this only trust them too much. The starting 11, and that's why Marcus, even if he's badly injured, wala, hindi siya binabangko kahit
hindi
sobrang
talaga
di ba? But on the flip side, yung bench niya, parang hindi may pinagkakatiwalaan. Di ba? So, parang,
wala talaga.
Diba?
Yung run-in natin last season, di ba?
I mean, this is not a question to you, ha? Parang it's more of, kayo yung trust na yun na meron siya? Parang, does he really hate the other players? I don't know, man. But so yeah, but thank you, Bon, for your thoughts. Sakto yung segue mo for the next panelist. I'll bring you on later again during the show. Thanks again. All right, and for our last panelist for tonight, we have Carl. Good evening, Carl.
Hello, good evening,
wow. Everyone. Bagong nakawan siya pumada ka pa. Pumada. So, as Bon said, he was appealing to the Glazers and to I'm not sure if Edward would still call the shots this coming transfer window because he's outgoing, but we really don't know, right? Given the shortcomings that we saw in the Europa League final, what now? I mean, we've been discussing this in the previous podcasts. What is our top priority in terms of strengthening the squad for next season?
Siguro for me, really it shows na CDM position talaga yung weakness natin. I love Scott. Siguro siya yung man of the match natin, but masyadong slow pa yung passing niya. Parang sa sideways passing or back lang kay De Gea or sa defenders. Hindi niya ma-pinpoint yung parang ginagawa ni Matic na spread to the left kay Mason, kay Rashi or sa right kay Mason. So parang masyadong predictable yung play natin. Alam nila left yung strongest natin. So yung CDM talaga para kung sakaling magstay si Pogba, siya yung magdi-dictate na parang eto, pwede kitong ilipat at di tayo asa lang kay Bruno or kay Pogba for creativity. We really need that CDM to dictate na parang ito pack, ito dito left, right, center. Hindi lang puro back pass, sideways na puro, it's boring, come on, we're united, we should go forward, we should take risks talaga. Which is very disappointed ako dun sa performance nga na parang, lalo na kay Ole, I'm sorry, I love Oli as a legend, pero as a manager, medyo nag-creep in na yung doubts. So hopefully he could prove us wrong next season.
Oo nga, no? Parang, I think a lot of us in the panels, previous panels, have been clamoring that, CDM is, I think, the top position that we need. So for you, who's yung priority mo? If you were given a wish list, who's your number one on that list? Is it Rice, Ndidi, someone else?
I think siguro more of Neves or NDD talaga. Sila yung medyo priority natin. Na, lalo na CDM, ay Premier League tested na sila. So they could, seamless lang yung pag-slot in nila doon. Na madali lang talaga. Hopefully.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Carl. I'll bring on the other panelists na. So Julio, Carl, Bon, hello. Teka,
Hello.
lipat ko lang si Carl.
Together.
Teka, tama. Yan. Okay. So thank you guys for your thoughts. Sana napag-grant kayo kahit pa paano. Nakapaglabas ang sama ng loob given our results. No? And sabi ni Carlo, he was, kumbaga, yung believe niya kay Oli medyo numinipis. I mean, I personally still support him. But I wanna know, as far as Oli's, being at the wheel, how long is your patience with him, given the progress that we've seen? And I mean, there is progress, the progress that we've seen the past couple of seasons, and then where we are now. How much of a chance are you still giving Ole? Anyone can start, ha? Kung sino man gusto mo na.
Siguro minimum silverware next season. If wala, then he has got to go. No, I'm not sure how many seasons Klopp had before he had his first trophy. I think at least three. No, so Ole will have his third season, full season next year. So 3.5 seasons. And if wala pa din, if we miss out on the Premier League, if we don't do well at the Champions League or win at the minimum yung League Cup or FA Cup, then I think he has to go. Sad to say, pero that's what I think. Yeah.
Anyone else?
I would. Probably another couple of seasons for me. Personally, I think I haven't felt this in a way good, weirdly good, for a manager managing Manchester United. Not because the team's being managed by a legend, so to speak, but because of the culture kasi that he's tried to restart. Parang feeling ko may project restart kasi sila with the club on how he's trying to integrate the players fully dun sa ethos, sa club ethos, trying to get themselves more involved as a community. So ako as a fan, parang I'm trying to look at a much bigger perspective, not just the results. I've also noticed na nabawasan na din yung mga commercial endorsements nila. I mean, already having a club sponsor like Adidas is already a big deal, and so is Kohler, and so are the other brands that they have. Pero dahil nga dun sa nangyari sa European Super League fiasco, kasi parang it had a bit of sabihin na nating ramifications, kumbaga, in terms of yung some of the sponsors daw medyo nagdadalawang isip na, yung iba daw nag-back out na, kumbaga. And then there's some like yung gumagawa ng kama, yung Emily Lee, medyo nag-advertise pa rin even after the league ended. So I guess the support is still there, but it's up to Ole on how he can deliver and how he will be back, like what I've said earlier. Kasi it will all depend kasi on how much the Glazers can cash in, kumbaga, further with whatever the team needs. Kasi you have to look into the other areas maliban sa CDM, like some of us have emphasized the need for having a true blue right midfielder. Some of us wanted to see a center back, which I'm also voting for it too. Kailangan talaga ng isa pa center back to either challenge yung kung sino yung starters or to provide a much needed partner para kay Harry Maguire. Stuff like that. And also you need to have an out and out striker, a target man. Parang ganun. So you have to look at those other areas din. I don't think kakayanin ng iisang season lang, depending on the type of players na makukuha ni Oli. Kasi last season kasi, puro mga wingers na nakuha na maglalaro Tsaka midfield. Isang midfielder, dalawang wingers, tsaka isang striker na in a few years time magre-retire na rin in Edinson Cavani. So yeah, there are 4 signings, but they're not exactly the type of players kasi na either pagkakatiwala ni Uli out and out, kumbaga, if you're really aiming to win now, to win at least one cup or the title itself. But they are the type of players kasi na parang they're keen on trying to hone for the future, kumbaga. Pero if the aim kasi is to win now, meaning the next season kaagad, at least one cup, which is yun nga, mutik na nga nitong nakaraang season then they really have to cash in properly, the Glazers. With Woodward out now, tapos na kasi yung ano niya kumbaga tenureship na kasi. So someone will take over pa. Rumors, sabi daw nila baka bumalik daw si David Gill and all that. Pero it's still up in the air. So it will depend talaga on how much Oli will be back. Kasi without that backing, baliwala yung challenge kasi for next season. Plus you also have to keep in mind din kasi yung nangyari rin at the start of the season na wala talaga preseason yung mga players. So walang practice yung mga players enough to test yung chemistry nila, how much Oli will trust the current squad and the fringe players din. Kumbaga, in the long run, it took them a while like yung first 6-7 games kasi to talagang click into gear Kumbaga, sana hindi maulit. Kasi kapag nangyari ulit yun, then most likely we'll be seeing a repeat again of nitong nakaraan season na to. So
Yeah,
for me, I would say a couple of things siguro
Okay.
will do. Ang huling question ko na lang doon before I end, I guess, will be, kasi kung aalis si Oli, the next question is, who will be the next coach enough na pwedeng pumalit sa club na kung mag-isip din for the club, not just for the club in itself, trying to maintain yung culture na
The
tinatry
culture,
nila.
no?
It's more of yung,
Si Pep daw, si Pep.
Uy, pwede.
Over the back, lipat lang siya.
Pwede.
Wishful thinking.
Di ba? Bakit hindi? Yun lang. Ang sa akin lang kasi, ang keyword kasi for any manager kasi coming in for a squad like this, the current squad, is how resourceful that person can be. Enough to make the most of yung kung anong meron doon sa team na yon, given how
Right.
stingy the Glazers are. So we'll have to find out.
All right.
We'll have to find out.
Okay. Yeah. Kent, you were raising your hand. You wanna build on
Yep.
that or rebut or what? Sige, Kent, go ahead.
Ito yung sinabi kanina yung tungkol kay, well, I hate the Scousers, pero they did a proper rebuild with Jurgen Klopp. It took 4 seasons for Jurgen Klopp to win a silverware, and that is the Champions League. Tandaan natin, ang daming tinanggal ni Jurgen Klopp in the 3 seasons sa Liverpool before they won that Champions League. Baga first thing, we're not yet we did not get di pa natin naaalis yung mga deadwood sa squad. Nandiyan pa rin si Phil Jones na nag-holiday kung saan. Si Jesse Lingard na kating-kating na maglaro sa West Ham pero ayaw pa rin pakawalan. Sergio Romero na train up natin, ganon. We need to let them go and have i-manage yung wage bill for me bago tayo makagawa ng sensible na moves. Pangalawa, yung minanang squad ni Oli, may iba dyan na galing pa sa era ni Coach Alex, David Moyes, Louis Van Gaal, and Jose. So, 4 na different manager yan na may different na So, parang chop suey squad yan. So, kailangan talaga bigyan ng time. For me, kailangan bigyan ng time pa si Olit para linisin yan Kumbaga, ang binibigay sa'yo, parang bata lang yan Parang iiyak ka, tapos iba naman yung binibigay sa'yo nung nanay mo. Ganon. Hindi ka masaya. Ganon. Yung ngingiti ka na lang. Parang grateful. Oo. Ganon. Ganon yung nakikita ko kasi. Parang ako, ano yung binibring in ng Glazers for Oli? Yun yung hindi kailangan Hindi katulad sa mga ibang team na kailangan ko ng midfielder. Ayan, ganun, midfielder. Kailangan ko ng defender. Ayan. Kailangan natin CDM. Bakit si Sancho ang number 1 priority? I mean, let's get our facts straight. Sancho, we need Sancho, pero ano ba talaga ang main priority? Kumbaga, mahihirapan din si Oli gumalaw kasi hindi nabibigay sa kanya yung kailangan niya. Kumbaga, ang hirap husgahan kasi we compare ourselves to other clubs na successful. Pero ang tanong, binibigay ba ng board yung gusto ng manager to help him in implement the system that he wants? Ganun kasi yun. Magtitiwala pa ako kay Ole until next season. Acid test na yung next season talaga. Pero ang hirap kasi husgahan ng manager kapag hindi niya yung mga player niya eh. Hindi niya nakukuha yung mga player niya. Kumbaga, may iwan na kapag natanggal siya. Sabihin natin, what if? What if ganito? What if ganyan? Kumbaga, mahirap husgahan yung manager based kung kung ano dapat yung nangyari. So, for now, it is imperative first for the board to back Oli and give him the signings he needs and not what the fans want. So, dun pa lang tayo makapag-judge ng husto kung ano ba talaga yung magiging performance niya.
And to your point, no, managers asking for the players that they need in the squad and eventually not being given. It's not just kay Ole, parang kahit kay LVG ganyan, kahit kay Mourinho ganyan din,
Kay
di ba?
Mourinho,
Diba?
marami.
Marami siyang hinihingi. Pero I mean,
Mm.
yeah, it doesn't make sense looking back. Pero kasi at that time, he had a game plan and if he had those players, siguro it would have worked, but very short term. I mean, come on, Perisic, medyo matanda na yun, di ba? So,
Well, it depends din kasi sa desire ng board kung pinagkakatiwalaan ba nila yung manager or half-hearted sila.
yeah.
Kumbaga babalik tayo sa point na ba't nga ba nila hinar si Ole in the first place? Para lang ba maging yes man or para they bought the system that Ole wants for Manchester United? Yung motibo yan sa loob eh. So whatever
Buti nga kung alam nila yun eh. I mean, if they are aware of what that football acumen is all about. Kasi, the owners can be, walang pake sa football side. I mean,
They're Americans. They love American football.
yeah, I mean,
They love
it's just
handbag.
kumbaga investment
Importante pa
vehicle
yung
for them
box
eh.
Oh, yeah.
It's an investment vehicle. And I hope, Kent, that, they're starting to decade that mentality na, they are looking at these different aspects na, where there's such a thing as football culture, football strategy, tactics, or whatnot. Pero ngayon kasi, unless we get those right kind of signings, as you've said, then we don't know what the motive is of the ownership. Until now, our assumption really is it's an investment vehicle for the Glazers, which is pretty unfortunate, especially for us fans, di ba?
Kung walang puso, hindi mananalo. Ganun lang.
Yun, puso, di ba? Kahit sa school yan, kahit sa ASCAL yan, di ba? Puso ang labanan dito. Carl, ikaw, di ba sabi mo nag-uwi na yung medyo tiwala mo kay Ori. So, gaano pa katagal for you?
I think at most 1 to 2 seasons na lang talaga. I really need to see something from him na kakaiba next season eh. Be it parang nagkaroon siya ng cojones biglang from 4-2-3-1 maging 4-4-2 siya or mag-subs siya ng mas maaga. Mga ganun ba? Or he could work the magic with his players kasi aminin naman natin whether in life or in football, we can't get everything we want. So, we have to make do with what we have talaga. Maximize with yung mga players natin or maybe yung mga deadwood talaga, ibenta na talaga para makakuha ng funds. Then maybe you could buy someone na underrated, maybe na-relegate sa Premier League. Mga ganun na hindi naman necessarily na superstar signings. We need the players na kaya nating i-develop into maybe superstars, mga ganun. Mga nami-miss ko yun talaga eh. I hope that we could do that again na bibili tayo ng mga 12 kahit ng 30 million lang. Mga hindi mamahaling player, hindi tayo lagi sa mga 80 to 100 plus kasi para nagyayabang na tayo ng pera nun eh. Which is, maliit lang budget natin. So, dapat pagkasahin na natin. Kung kaya man, makahanap tayo ng quality player na sobrang cheap, underrated, let's go for it. Huwag natin pakialaman yung yung politics niyan for signings, commercial. Dapat sa team unahin muna natin yan. So, sana talaga makahanap tayo ng balance. Balance lang naman hinahanap ko dun eh. Mag-develop si Oli. Then hopefully, yung coaching staff din na tulungan din siya kasi hindi naman siya mag-iisa eh. Na tulungan din siya na parang i-change yung habits niya na mag-sub ako 80 to 90th minute na. So hopefully mas maaga naman. Kung kaya nga halftime.
Mas maaga ng konti.
Kung kaya halftime.
79 ganyan. Pero yun nga, chicken and egg yan eh. Parang chicken and egg kasi it's either you have, make do with what you have, pero if what you have is not enough, ganun din. So parang it's still really a monumental task. And the fact is, we've been signing marquee players. The problem is, sa youth level, U16, U18, and I'm pretty sure they will turn up good players if all is still there. Because it's a system that's being built now. Eh. So, sana we kahit kasi all has been making do with what he's had. And, I think he's just showing the board na parang what we have is not enough. Then again, ang bato mo sa kanya, then do what you can. I mean, siguro hanggang doon na lang talaga. We don't know. But hopefully he gets back somehow and we have something to cheer on again. Sabi nga nila, di ba? Because June 4, there's a fan forum with Joel Glazer. Kaya para may mga minamadaling signing. Yeah, sila Jadon Sancho, right? Okay. So the season's ending officially. Well, has ended. If you were to rate the season 1 to 10, 10 of course being the highest, what would your rating be overall? Julio?
7.
7?
Kasi wish ko lang, pwede ko lang siya ilagay lower. Kaya lang, given the circumstances kasi at the start of the season, kasi the odds that Oli and the team were facing kasi at the start of the season, things were really looking bleak. But for some reason, nakasagot siya eh. He was able to answer back. I'm looking at the run of the games that he was able to win. And then he drew some of the games na towards Christmas na medyo naging no-show na si Bruno noong January, pero somehow they were able to eke out results din. Medyo nag-hit lang ng stumbling block lang pagdating na nung announcement na ng European Super League. Yun talaga eh. Yun talaga sa akin yung pinakamalaking stumbling block nun eh. Knowing Oli kasi nun, even during his time with Cardiff and Molde, ano kasi siya eh. I would like to say na parang medyo may pagka-streaky siya na manager. Streaky meaning, kung naalala niyo yung nung nag-restart yung Premier League after nung nag-lift yung lockdown sa UK. Di ba nagsunod-sunod panalo ng team sa
pati nung nag-interim siya.
Oo, grabe yan, nung interim siya.
As in, sunod-sunod.
First game pa lang eh, no?
Oo, 5-0 eh.
Correct.
Iterig pa yun. Bullshit.
Yes, correct. Tsaka nung yun nga, going back nga nung last season pa na yung streak niya sobrang nagsunod-sunod hanggang sa na-burnout na yung first 11. Nakita mo na yung pagod nila. To the point na nag-aaway na si Bruno tsaka si Lindelof in a semi-final against Sevilla. So, may pagka-streaky kasi na manager si Oli. Meaning na we might see, hindi siya inconsistent eh. Pero you could see yung run of the games na sabihin na natin sustainable enough to, let's say, challenge it. At one point, nasa top ang United kasi sa Premier League eh. But then it all fell down eh. Diba? So, I think the trend is still there. In the 2.5 seasons kasi that he's been, it will all depend lang din kasi siguro kung masusustain niya yung next season. Depending din on the support and all that. Pero if we're going to focus on the past season, hands up ako kay Oli. As in, the odds were really against him. It's not just about the team. Kasi in terms of yung managing the squads and all that, Luke Shaw really responded. Paul Pogba responded. Bruno Fernandes delivered. Marcus Rashford, despite his injury, delivered. Mason Greenwood finally found this goal-scoring streak kahit paano. Ako wala akong masabi. Harry Maguire na nakita naman ng mga tao yung importance niya up until he got injured against Aston Villa. So you could see na on how he was able to manage these players no matter how limited the squad is. Totoo naman may mga flaws. Hindi na talaga may iwasan yun. I mean, we have issues with the mag-threat axis eh. Hindi na talaga madi-deny yun eh. But the way he handled the squad all throughout the season, the cups included, the cup runs included, especially yung nakarang Europa League, parang ako I would like to give him that credit well enough na he was able to answer his critics back. Na at the start of the season pa lang kasi they were really thinking na hindi aabot the Champions League places ng United with a squad like this, tapos si Bruno lang magbubuhat. Wala yan. Ayan. Second place.
Oo nga.
Against all odds. With a I would like to describe it as a threadbare squad. As in, daming kulang talaga to challenge City all the way hanggang sa makuha yung title. So I would
Alright.
like to say 7 pa rin. 7 pa rin naman.
7.
Parang noong una kasi naglalaro ako around 6.5 eh. With the way Oli handled the squad kasi towards the end of the season because of yung hindi niya kasi pinagsasub kasi yung mga players na maaga eh. It's a really telling factor eh. You can tell with some of yung mga games na we drew against Everton, United lost to Sheffield United, ang laking bagay na parang sayang sana nagpalit ka ng tao, di ba? Parang
Or
ganun eh.
too late. I mean, or mali yung pinagtatalo. Parang
Alam
ganun
mo
eh.
yung hinahinayang ka, nakakainis. Pero ganun talaga eh. I mean, you have to look at a different perspective altogether na how he's trying to manage a squad like this eh. Yung ibang mga managers nga na nakaraan, di ba, umiiyak na. Di ba? Lalo na nung third season, parang, ano ba to? Ito lang ba yung players na meron ako? Si Oli, parang
Yeah.
hindi. Kept his head
Okay.
down. Ito na lang meron ako. Tara, banatan na natin yung kaya natin banatan to. Parang ganun eh. Hanggang sa nag-run out of steam. So,
Okay, so that's your
ako,
perspective, no? Parang he made do what he had, pero yun nga,
Yeah.
syempre, frustrating pa rin. Alright. Thanks, Julio.
Correct.
How about you, Kent? What's your rating for the season?
Same with Julio, 7. One thing we lacked, squad depth, and at the same time, consistency. Kaya ano nasabi kanina, Ole's United reign is current United reign as manager. It's more of the spurts talaga. Spurts of winning, spurts of losing. But what separates the good teams with the elite teams is consistency. And that's what we failed to show this season. Pero naiintindihan ko kasi, well, recruitment has been bad. Well, with exception for Edinson Cavani. I think
Ahmad.
Oo.
I mean, I would give props to
Ahmad,
Ahmad as well.
Ahmad, oo. So, ang masasabi ko, wala eh, he had to make do with of what we had. Yung pinakita lang niya na parang yung McFred, ewan ko ba kung protesta yun sa Glaciers na give me a better midfield or I play this trash every game of the season.
Grabe, trash talaga.
I respect them pero they just couldn't cut it. Put Fred in Aston Villa, he will be a good player but don't put him in United. Ganon yung ko eh. Pero ang masasabi ko, wala eh, pinigaan niya eh. Baga, wala, baga, siya mismo, din eh. He's trying his best to shield the players from criticism. Ang galing niyang man-manager. Baga, the best that we'd had since Sir Alex. Pero yung sa squad quality talaga, hindi ma-implement yung gusto. Wala pa tayong clear style of play. We're dependent on individual moments of glory.
Brilliant.
Well, katulad na nakita natin with Bruno and Pogba most of the time this season. Yung mga defensive prowess ni Harry Maguire, yun. If we want to be good, kahit sinong player na ipasok mo dyan, kailangan magde-deliver. Kailangan hindi tayo yung tipong parang mamamatay na tayo sa kaba kapag wala si Bruno sa isang laro. Ganon. Hindi dapat ganon. Pero as much as I want to blame Oli, again, wala sa tiniis lang niya at piniga lang niya kung ano yung binigay sa kanya at kailangan talaga mabackupan siya ng maayos para magawa niya yung gusto niya para makita natin kung ano yung kaya niyang ibuga, kung ano talaga yung true potential niya bilang United manager. And that's it.
Sobrang pigaan niya, mapait na yung juice, no? Parang yung kalamansi, so ganyan eh, di ba?
Latak
Sobrang
na.
piga mo. Oh, yung pulp na, yung balat
Pulp na lang nalalasahan natin.
Oo, mapait. Alright, Bon, how would you rate our season?
I think I would rate it just 1 point above what Julio and Ken said. So I'd give it an 8. First thing, we overachieved.
Oh.
We got second when I think the start of the season, I was wishing na siguro third would be the best, the highest that we could get in the league. No, with Liverpool and with the noisy neighbors too far ahead in terms of squad. Third would be
Chelsea
pero,
pa.
course,
Actually, Chelsea was also
Chelsea
favorite.
pero ang galing ni Lampard kasi mag-manage siya. So, So yun. Thank you, Frank. And I gave it an 8 because we finally got over that semifinal hump, no? After losing, I think 3 or 4 semifinals under Ole. Very heartbreaking semifinals. We got to the final, and at the end of the day, we just fell short. No, big players did not show up. So when Jose Mourinho told everyone that second with United was one of his greatest achievements, no? Ano ba yung squad na yun? Sino ba yung ano? That was 2-3 years ago, no?
Zlatan.
Oh, Zlatan, of
Alexis.
course. Alexis, yun.
Mm.
Ashley Young.
And I think
Smalling.
Valencia was still there. He was our Smalling. I think we could rank this second along with that second of Jose Mourinho. No, no one gave us a chance. Bruno was our paria when we got him last year, and when we signed Bruno, Paul Pogba showed up. No, there was a stretch during this season na si Paul was the best player, and that World Cup winning midfield, world class player that we needed him to be. Which unfortunately, sabi ni Gary Neville, si Roy Keane, pinaka-hater ni Paul Pogba, ano lang, it's just for stretches, no? He can't do it for a whole season, eh. I don't know why. He can only do it sa mga small tournaments. Probably sa Euros, may kita na naman natin na world-class siya. Pero, finals of a Europa League, do you remember any significant touches or that he or anything significant that he did? Parang wala.
Actually, for me, nung simula, si Pogba, at least he was trying to win the ball back, which is rare for him.
Rare. Oo.
That's rare for him. So, nung simula, parang hopeful ako na parang, at least sumalaban siya sa depensa. But,
Sabi niya,
Hindi
wala
mo
si
ginagawa
Fred. Wala si Fred, kailangan ko tumakbo. Kawawa naman si Scotty. So, yeah. Forgot about that. So, overall, second, 8 out of 10, not bad. We overachieved. It was a good season, no? It was heartbreaking end to the season. We 9 sana kung if we won that Europa League eh. Pero that's how it is. So 22 in 2022, ano?
Hindi yata abot. Hindi yata abot. 21 lang.
21 lang.
21 in 2022.
21, 22.
Okay.
Alright, thanks, Bon.
Alright.
Ikaw, Carl.
Thank you.
For me kasi I'll be brutal. I'll give 6.8 out of 10.
Wow!
Statistics.
Grabe yung putal. May point
Kasi
8.
Okay, point 2.
Kasi for me, considering na binanggit niyo yung good points na nakaabot sa first final, nag-improve yung play sa second half of the season after the slow start, the 1-6 against Spurs, yung mga against Palace pa, yung mga ganun. Kaso nakukulangan pa rin ako dun sa team. Okay yung second sa league eh. Pero yung sa akin yung sa trophies lang talaga, nakulangan ako. Medyo kulang pa siya sa konting piga pa. Kahit Carabao Cup man yan, magiging masaya ako. Itataas ko yung rating niyan eh. Pero considering na kinapos tayo, kulang pa rin eh. Considering na yung standard ng club natin, we should be fighting for trophies. Hindi yung be happy with second place, happy with getting into the final. Hindi naman tayo iba dyan, nakapit-bahay na. So we should be aiming na sa mga big cups. Kahit FA Cup lang, maging masaya ako, parang katulad ng kay Sir Alex dati. So 6.8 kasi maganda yung may improvements, pero may igaganda pa yan. May mga natutulog pa sa depensa, mga lapses natin sa substitution patterns. Pero pag hopefully, magiging 7 or 8 naman yan. Kasi mananalo na tayo. Malakas din pakiramdam ko, hopefully. Dahil nakita nila yung sakit na natalo sila this year na penalties pa. Hindi naman sila natalo ng 1-0 or mga ganun. Penalties tayo natalo. So, malapit na eh.
Tsaka, asahan mo pa talaga si De Gea mag-shoot ng penalty, di ba? Hindi naman talaga eh. So, alam mo yun.
Bakit pa pinaabot dun?
Yun nga. That's really the point. I mean, napag-usapan natin si group chat. Parang ba't natin pinabot kay De Gea Anyway. So, 6.8 kay Carl. Ako, I would go in between 7.5 to 8. Just because are actually top of the league at some point, despite the terrible losses in the beginning of the season, 6-1 to Spurs, and then we had those frustrating draws with Everton and ano ba isa? Sheffield ba? Basta at one point, the fact that we were first place, parang, yun nga, kulang talaga sa consistency eh. And for us to be consistent, I guess, we need the squad depth. Kasi if we want to battle in 3 or 4 competitions, then dapat we are well rotated. And the fact is, Oli cannot rotate for some reason. Maybe it's because he doesn't know how to, or because he cannot because the other players are shit. I don't know. So, alam mo yun? That's again chicken and egg, diba? So hopefully, we get those improvements for next season. All right. I just want to I just want to greet lang some of our watchers. Ayan, si Alf agreeing with 8 ni Bon. Si Alf ang ano, teka nasa ba yan? Ayan, si Alf ang number 1 critic daw ni ano, ni Bon.
Iba na yan.
Teka, meron pa akong card sa kanya. si Jeff agreeing with Julio on the 7. And then we have our other watchers of Amir Conte as a
Oh my goodness.
as a manager. Let's see. Also, he's wishing for Kimmich. Sobrang ano yan, wishful thinking, no? Si Kevin, instability talaga. Kaninang instability to Kevin? Of course, we have G, one of our regular watchers as well.
Sonong
Alright.
Ano?
Si Son pa yan, marketing signing yan, I'm sure.
Oo.
Kung si Son kukunin, marketing yan. Opa signing.
Opa.
Oo.
Oh my
Miguel.
God, no.
Oo. Julius also, hello, good evening. And ayan, merong si Kent, sunod-sunod yung mga metaphor ngayon eh. Loaf of bread, sa private comment, bad marriage. Yeah,
Dahil quotable quotes eh.
Quotable quotes si Kent. Like a loaf of bread. Ayan, si Lawrence, meron ding rating 7. Second, but Champions League exit. Actually, nakapanghinayang yung Champions League exit, no? Like, parang, I just needed a minimum result against Istanbul, who got relegated.
Oo nga, grabe.
Diba? So,
Grabe yun.
wala eh. Pero yung, well, yung sa Roma, nanalo mo tayo doon. But anyway, yeah. Still part of the instability post Alex Ferguson.
Ayan,
Si Alf, ito. Just to close off the evening, Alf has a question for the panel. What would Oli need to do next year to get a higher ranking? Si Bon kasi nakahit na eh.
Si Bon dapat. Ikaw yung nagbigay na.
Liligaw lang yan.
Gawing manager yung Antonio Alfelor. Pag yan yung manager, yan na yan. Treble na to, treble.
Sige, just to close off, ano yung, siguro, what would be the biggest factor that would get a higher rating of a season for Ole? Ako may sagot ako, pero kayo mga
silverware, whatever it be, whether, of course, preferred pa rin natin yung Premier League, pero even if we get the League Cup or syempre, Champions League is not bad at all, di ba? If we win it, then that would be at least an 8 at the minimum. Kahit fourth place lang tayo sa league, pero we win Champions League, okay na ako dun.
Okay, sino pa iba? Silverware, si Bon Carl, ikaw.
Sa akin siguro to, non-negotiable. It's either Carabao Cup or FA Cup, Premier League or Champions League. So dapat 2 trophies. And then
2 trophies.
Tapos mas mabilis na palitan. Yung makakakita ka ng 45-50 minutes nagpapalit na si Oli.
Earlier substitutions. Every game, no? Kailangan o 50 meron. Kent, ikaw.
Well, at least 1 trophy for the meantime. Alam natin na mahirap eh. And again, na-mention na kanina na ang dami pang dapat gawin to improve the roster and pati yung mga nangyayari behind the scenes. So at least start with an FA Cup or League Cup, it won't be bad. And as as well as a top 3 finish. Not top 4 not top 3 dapat. Pakiramdam ko kaya na natin na. Wag na tayong bumaba sa fourth. Alam ko kaya natin na mag second or third if not first. But again, hindi lang dapat si Oli ang kastiguhin natin dito, pati ang Glazers. Kasi again, si Oli gumagawa lang ng galaw yan, depende sa kung anong binibigay sa kanya. Kung walang ibigay sa kanya, we can argue, we can shit on all evening long. Pero hindi siya, in the end, dapat hindi siya yung dapat nating ano yun. Pero I wish him well next season. Sana maaga na siya mag-sub, sana pagkatiwalaan niya yung mga tao. Parang relasyon lang yan, give them a chance.
Wow.
Baka may spark.
Wow.
Baka may spark.
One more chance. Arca Julio, for you, what's the one thing that would give you Oli a higher rating?
This would hear like a substandard ratings for Hope. Pero okay lang naman ang trophy next season. Pero ang importante is ma-close nila na further yung gap nila against City. Stay in second hanggat kaya. Definitely kaya naman ng team. Ma-address lang yung consistency issues, okay lang. Get a defensive midfielder and a defender, an able defender sa tabi ni Harry Maguire, and we can challenge. Closing the gap on City. Yun ang importante doon. As for the trophies kasi, it will be a bonus kasi if we can get the FA Cup. Ako kasi, siguro I have a romantic side in it kasi with the FA Cup kasi. Iba kasi yung kapag nananalo kasi nung pag pinapanalo mo yung cup na yun, iba yung feeling eh. Since nasa Champions League pa rin ng United, which is for a very long time, medyo nagkakaroon na ng konting streak ulit in terms of participation. Masaya na ako for United in general pag nakakarating na ng quarterfinals and that's it. Kung kayang tapatan ni Oli yun, at the very least, okay na ako, good na ako. Pero ang priority kasi pa rin talaga, I don't know why. Maybe because I'm an old head, I guess. Okay na ako sa liga. Pero importante kasi when you're participating in a league like the Premier League kasi kailangan talaga always close ka kasi with whoever was the champion kasi, which is City. And with Liverpool trying to rebuild, pabalik na si Virgil van Dijk. At Chelsea kasi they're still on the high after winning the Champions League and they got Tuchel, which is a very capable coach. There are other teams kasi who are definitely challenging again for next season. You're looking at other factors kasi na masusubukan ng United talaga when it comes to consistency. Pero I firmly believe that they can close that gap. Just give Oli the signings that he needs, not the marquee ones, but what he actually needs, and then they can challenge. Kaya ni Oli yun. May tiwala ako doon. Champions League kasi, well, makarating na quarterfinals, that's fine. Basta makalabas na ng group stage. Hindi lang maulit yung laban sa Basak si Hero. Huwag lang mauulit yun. And then the team will be fine. They can challenge. Kaya yan.
Ako, yung sagot ko is similar to how Julio closed it out, no? Like, may tiwala ako na kaya naman ni Oli i-close yung gap and win a trophy. But the one thing that he needs to get a higher rating is the Glazer support, basically. That's the one thing he needs. And then, susunod na yan. All right? So, yun lang yung sa akin. Hopefully, we get that starting June 4 when we get the forum. So, yeah. Again, guys, thank you. Thank you for joining us. To our viewers watching the live show, thank you for joining us. To those watching the replay, continue to like, follow, and subscribe to our channels. So, yeah. We will have off-season episodes. Sabi ng asawa ko masyado serious yung mga topic dito. So, ayan, kami ni Bon may mga niluto kami ng mga episode dito na hindi masyadong serious para sa ano. Alright.
Sando.
Sando breaks, para si Julio.
Sando breaks.
Sorry na.
Alright.
Thank you, Jeff.
Alright.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, so see you in the
Thank you,
off-season.
guys.
Then we have more episodes and good night.
Nice.
Night.